Hello everyone, this is the Ant Apple, and we're here today to take a look at Vault 106, which is located just to the northwest of Vault 101, and its exact coordinates can be found from the Vault-Tec headquarters located in Washington, DC. This is a very interesting vault. I hope you'll enjoy the episode, and without further ado, let us venture inside. Has the usual very scrappy entrance of many of the vaults. Now let's get a look at the inside. The vault is open and has papers, boxes, canisters strewn everywhere, so it's been in a vast state of disrepair and been destroyed. Now, whether anybody actually left the vault, well, you'll see later how that happens. The door is jammed open, but you can't actually get into it, so you never actually find out what is past that door. Now, you're going to find a room, and oddly enough, it has a suit of power armor in it, which would suggest this vault had quite advanced technological specifications, and a terminal with a message that's the same everywhere. Throughout your time in this vault, you're going to be subjected to blue hallucinations. Now, in this case, if you actually manage to spot it, someone disappeared around the corner, and then you're then confronted with an insane survivor, which have the same amount of health as the Garys did, and are quite easy to dispatch, as you just seen there, but they're not too much of a threat. Now, one of the first hallucinations, the most interesting, is when you're exposed to your dad. Three of your dad. When you go talk to him, it disappears, and if you shoot him, you get negative karma. Sometimes it's also a mata, but usually it's only your dad. Once you actually make your way into the vault further, you get more hallucinations. They only last for a bit before you return to the real world, and all the rooms are in a massive state of disrepair, but would hint at advanced technology, or that this vault had a very high level of advanced technology based on all the monitors, mainframe computers, armor, weaponry, etc. So the living quarters are identical to the living quarters of most of the other vaults, but one of the most interesting rooms upstairs, as you'll see here, well, really the only room of interest upstairs, contains something that, well, you're going to want to get. It's one of the Vault-Tec Bobbleheads, the science one to be exact, which will permanently increase your science by 10 points, located on a shelf just opposite you as you enter the room. Now, as you go further in, you're going to get to here. It's one of the most interesting hallucinations. Completely separate world. It seems to be back in time. Everything's the same as it was. All the computers are working. Mainframes are working. The place is pristine and spotless. And you can even get some messages on certain of the terminals. But it seems to be speaking to your subconscious. Like they're addressed to you, saying that you like this place, you should stay here. But as the messages progress, it becomes apparent that some part of you is trying to convince you to stay, or maybe the gas is doing this and your brain's rejecting it, and then eventually the final message is just, I don't want to talk to you, fuck off. Every other terminal in this room will give you the same message. You can't get a different one, which I find very interesting, the fact that, you know, after a certain point no more convincing is needed, and all the other terminals also give you the same message as well. It's also interesting to note that a lot of this stuff is completely disappeared, such as the terminals. The mainframe computers are huge, but they're gone when you actually snap out of the hallucination. And you gotta wonder, where the fuck did they go? You can't even get out of the room, they're too big. And then, once again, you're being confronted with the insane survivors again. Your next hallucination is going to be one of three women running towards you, which I find very interesting because there's no actual women, well, even insane or not, encountered within the vault, and you're actually going to find out something that may prelude to these three later. One thing to note is you can find some insane survivors wielding Chinese officers' swords. Now, I find this very odd because this was America when they were fighting them, so why is there Chinese officer sword here? Possibly the Chinese were more closely related to this vault than any other one. Maybe they were involved in it. Maybe this was a weapon they want to test out. You know, Vault-Tec were a bunch of shifty cunts. They try this type of stuff, so you can't really, you won't really know. One of the things very interesting you're going to find here is a room with three dead bodies in it, which, in my opinion, would be those of the three young women, because this was in the female block, the female dorm, but no women are actually ever found alive or otherwise. When you actually get to the science lab, you're going to see a couple of interesting things. First of all is some very eerie but familiar music, which you recognize as the Enclave propaganda network music, whatever you want to call it. which can be located inside the actual, what we'll say, common room, living area for the insane survivors. Now, they probably just want to listen to it because it sounds familiar. I doubt they actually know who the Enclave are or are aware of the actual truth behind them, so it's probably just, we like this station, yeah, we're going to go with this one. So they don't, I would very much doubt they actually know who the Enclave are. After that, you're going to actually find a terminal which you can actually see a message stating that people, they were complaining, they were frightened about this gas. What the fuck, it's coming out. That's why you're undergoing hallucinations. It's still coming out of some of the vents, which means there must have been very copious amounts of it when you think about it after all this time. But the Overseer was like, no, it's fine, don't sweat it, don't worry about it. We've heard all this before. Overseers are always the dickheads. Then you're going to find a survivor who attacks you with a bat. After you hit him a couple of times, you're going to go into a hallucination where you're going to be attacked by Wally Mack and all those other dickheads out of that wee group, the Tunnel Snakes. Hit them once, disappear, they don't do that much damage. It's more of just very funny. But yeah, I find it's very interesting, the fact that the hallucination actually caused you to go crazy to this extent. After that, he'll slap on a stealth boy, which will remain until you've killed him, but he's easy enough to see. I mean, he's a big, giant, floaty thing. Then you're going to find a cave area with a mini nuke and bodies, which suggests that they tried to maybe blow their way out and just it didn't work out. Or maybe that's where that survivor dumped the bodies of the other survivors. We will never really know. Then you're going to get the Overseer's room and be confronted with a hallucination with the Overseer from Vault 101. And then, once you actually get access to his terminal, you'll find out, yep, surprise, surprise, he knew all along. He had protocols enacted which were meant to spread this gas throughout the vault, as you'll see here. And now, since there was barricades just by the, what we say, gangway into his office, I'm going to guess it went wrong. It was meant to, the gas was meant to have some effect. It didn't make us go crazy, so maybe it just messed with everybody else. It may have actually been the thing that killed females because they all seem to be dead. So the gas was meant to affect people's mentality, but it did it and made them all go insane. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Legends of Vault series. Like, favorite, and subscribe if you want some more. And as always, an nth day will keep your Bournemouth Bay. And goodbye.